Hello, welcome back to Bend It Live. I'm your host, David Caballo. We are here, not in Paul Giret's garage, by the way. I am not accompanied by Paul Giret, who is our resident digital artist and technical wizard. So bear with me. We may have some technical issues that I will need to work on. So let's go through a bit of a recap. For those of you maybe tuning in for the first time, Bend It Live is a podcast about circuit bending, which is finding interesting musical toys and hacking them or modding them in order to get interesting new sounds out of them and making music with them. So when we started this podcast, I found a read-along book for children where you can press a button and hear funny noises alongside the reading of the book. So I do not have that here. We're not at the workshop. We're not at the garage. Today we're in my room. And I took this noisemaker from the book and I modified it and put it into an external enclosure. I made a couple of changes to it. One of them gave me some interesting farty kind of sounds, and the other one modified the pitch of that bend. And so I installed a couple knobs to sort of, go in between the two bends that I found. Bend referring to, any sort of modification that you do that you find in the instrument, the toy. Well, I can call it an instrument now because I feel like I've made it into an instrument. So I made some changes, and I also added a volume control jack, volume control circuit, and a jack that I could use to capture the audio through a cable. And then I recorded that audio and saved it onto my computer. Last episode, I took some of those interesting sounds and I used them on my hardware sampler groove box. So I loaded those sounds and a couple of other drum sounds, and I played them together to start the musical composition. So that's what we did I hope I didn't say last week. Last episode, 2 weeks ago. And, well, Paul's off doing cool life things. And I'll be your host and technical wizard today. So what I thought I'd do, because Paul usually handles the technical side of things, which means all the switching between the different video sources that we have, and he does that all live, which is a lot of work. And because I am not a technical wizard, what I've decided to do was to make some music on my computer and stream it. So without further ado, let's change scene. Okay, primary screen share, full studio. Okay, I think that should do it. Gameplay. Alright, we are in gameplay now. So going over to FL Studio. Okay, I'm already messing up. I should be wearing my headphones. You can't be a streamer if you don't have headphones on. Right? Okay. So why don't we load some sounds over here. The other thing that I need to do, I think Sorry if this lags, guys. The other thing that I should apologize for is I'm using an old computer, so I actually have a nice computer that I should be using, a gaming laptop. That would be great for streaming, but unfortunately, I realized it doesn't have a webcam. So this is what we're dealing with today. I see a lot of frame drops, and that kind of worries me. That's just the connection that we have here. So bear with me. Let's load up a sample and start playing around with it. So that seems a little bit loud. I'm gonna check the levels here. Okay, bring it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm using FL Studio, which I prefer, and probably other people prefer, because it's just easy to use. So FL Studio is kind of centered around the sequencer here, which you can see. This is color coded for 4 beats in a bar, or a 4/4 time signature, meaning each note counts as a quarter. So that is the bottom 4 in 4/4, and then the top 4, which is written as a fraction. So the top 4 would be the number of beats in a measure. So there are 4 quarter notes, which you can see. 1 is gray, 2 is red, 3 is gray, 4 is red. So this is a way to input your pattern, or well, your pattern is a pattern of rhythm, which is one of the basic building blocks of music. So mainly before the existence of these programs, these digital audio workstations, people did this sort of thing on hardware. And so FL Studio, people find it easy to use because it's based around the sequencer, which is what most people would be working with on their hardware. Okay, so this screen, what I just did when I contract was bring my sample or my recording from my Fartbox toy into the program. So you can see here is the waveform, and I can map it to my controller, which is off screen. The controller is the keyboard, so now I can play the sample like it's a piano, which I like to do because I learned piano first. That was my introduction to music. So what you're hearing is pretty chaotic because this is a very long sample, and so the more I play it, the more overlapping there's going to be. Which, we'll see. I forgot to turn off my speakers, so there's not any feedback going on. I think I would see that. Okay, so one thing to do is to fade out the rest of the sample. Okay, and I'm doing that with this dial. So you can see this is just a simple fade out. And what's going to do is it's going to chop off that excess tail so that when I play it, the notes aren't going to overlap. So this is just kind of a quick preview. If I decide to chop this off, I would probably open up the editor and actually chop it off, because this is not perfect. It's not a perfect chop, it's a fade out. We'll see how that sounds. Yeah, so that's not my favorite sample. Just let's find some other stuff to work with. I'm not crazy about this ant sound. So yeah, these long samples kind of have to be chopped down to really be useful. I'll just go through and kind of audition and just play around with stuff for now. And when I need to start editing, I'll just start editing. The other thing that makes this difficult to work with is it's got those drum sounds in there. Those percussive sounds, they're going to establish a rhythm whether you like it or not. And so you're just going to have to go along with that if that's what you want to use. So that makes it less attractive to me. Let's keep on scrolling through. Okay. Yeah, the B sound is a little bit tonal, so that I can work with. Tonal means it has a defined pitch, so that you can play a melody with it. Something that's atonal would be like white noise. You know, you can change the pitch up or down, but you're not going to get a melody out of that. So see, that's tonal. I can play a melody. That's what I'm used to. That's what I prefer. You know, I'm a pianist. So I do kind of like to just sort of lay down little, you know, melodies or grooves or riffs, whatever you want to call them. I usually don't start with drums, but I guess the drawback to that is I'm dependent on my own timing. So what you can do to get around that is to just lay down a simple drum beat or just a metronome track. And I guess the metronome, you know, you're not going to have that in your track, so that's nice. Sometimes if you put down a basic drum beat, you're not necessarily going to. Sorry, I was just thinking of something. I was a little worried about where my capture is going because I think I'm running out of memory. But okay, so sorry for the distraction. What I was going on about was sometimes if you have a basic drum beat like what I have here, a 4 on the floor, which means a kick on every beat. So that's 4 kicks for one measure. That's your standard, like, you know, dance beat. So sometimes if you put that down, well, now I'm already thinking, oh, it's a dance track. So it can flavor your track before you want it to. But I don't remember how to set the metronome, so I'm just gonna go for this. So I'll just play this pattern. Oops. I accidentally opened Chrome. Let's just go ahead. Look kind of high. I'm gonna bring them down. Okay, good. Whoops. Okay, so I mean that sounds good. Maybe we should just record that. But just so that I'm on top of everything, what I'm going to do now is take this. So this should be pattern 1. So what I did was select pattern 1 to put into this playlist. So I'm just going to put a bunch of pattern 1s here just so I can record my pattern. So now pattern 1 is this drum beat, and then pattern 2, I want that to be my sample. So I'll go ahead and play pattern 1, and then I'll record pattern 2. So now what I'm doing is I'm not actually recording audio, even though that's what it sounds like. Audio would be plugging in something into the jack, like if I had an external synth that I was recording from. What I'm doing is recording internally. That sample is already loaded into the program. So what I'm recording is called automation, which is automation and score. So automation is when you change, basically knob twiddling. So if you change some sort of setting, for example, you're changing the volume or panning, then that would be automation. Score is the music or the notes that I'm playing, the note information. So I'm recording automation and score. And I think I'll probably wait a little bit. I'll give myself a count in. So I'll wait for a couple bars to just get on time, and then I'll probably just record a long take, because I can always edit it down later. I can always edit it down later, which is the strong suit of working with the digital audio workstation. If I were to be working with hardware, I would be working with some tiny screen and diving through menus. So here I have a giant screen and I have a lot of options. So let's go ahead and record. That's a metronome. Okay, that's bad. So what I forgot to do was change this from pattern mode into song mode. So over here, the playback area, this orange button, it will toggle between playing either the song, which is over here on the playlist, which is what I wanted to do, or playing the pattern. Why would you want that? If you're working on the pattern right now, then you want to see what it sounds like, then you would play from the pattern, which is what orange means. So because there was nothing on the pattern, it was playing nothing. So see, I toggle it off, and now you see the cursors over here on the playlist. So I'll record to the playlist now. Oh, I kind of hated that. Okay, well, I'll just play it back to see if there were any decent ones, any keepers. It sounds like kind of rushed, so there's sort of a natural tendency to rush. It's just a human thing. Okay, so I'm trying to delete this. My mouse sucks. You right-click delete. Delete. I'll just have to delete it this way. The right button on my mouse is not working. Alright, so we go back here. We're recording with B, that's the channel we have selected, and then we're on pattern 2. Recording, automation, and score. Let's give this another go. I kind of like that second take. Hopefully that's a keeper. Yeah, it was also rushing. I've got to kind of chill out, and that's sort of another reason why I have this long pattern here. Well, I'm probably gonna naturally start out rushing. So hopefully after a while I'll sort of settle down and get into the groove. Yeah. So the other thing that makes this a little bit difficult is the latency on this keyboard is kind of weird. I don't know what's up with that, but there's sort of a latency between what I'm playing, what I'm hearing, and that's another issue that sort of a drawback with the digital audio workstation, at least the one I have, because my computer is kind of old. But it's just another factor. You don't really have to deal with that with hardware because all of your processing power is dedicated to just your music. So here I got a lot of stuff going on, and that's sort of impacting the latency. Oh, that one was actually pretty decent. Well, let's keep on. Second take. You hear how those last four notes were right on beat. That's what I want to hear. And then I just kind of screwed it. Okay, so I think the second one's like the keeper. So now what I want to do is go over to the piano roll and edit it down. So the piano roll, this is all the note information. When I record the score, this is the score. So it tells you how hard you're hitting the note. This is the bottom over here. These are the levels. These are the velocities. Which is the harder, basically, the faster you hit it, the harder the note sounds, or the higher the volume is. And so this is recording the, how fast I hit these notes, and that's called articulation, or dynamics articulation. So articulation is sort of how you play your melody. You play short or long, right? And then dynamics being, did you play it soft or loud? And so these are different ways to express the idea or the phrase, because not everything is just the notes. And so these are the metadata of the notes, you could think of that. And so, there are two parts, really, to the score. There's the velocity, the note velocity down there, and then here's note length. And, well, I guess also the pitch. Not just two parts. So the pitch is the actual information of the phrase. So do 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 do. That's being recorded here. The velocity, or the volume of how I hit certain notes. That's part of the expression. So I might do 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 do. So the way I was playing it, I'm sort of accenting, when I hit these, or I could accent it more. So if I were to do that, then this would go up higher. I would play this louder as it came on to the beat. This second one. This is the one that's on beat. And so you can see these 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the bars, and these are subdivided into beats. So you can see here is beat 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can kind of see why I was happy with this take. It's because they're all on beat, more or less. And these other ones, see, it's early. So here's the evidence that I was rushing. And the second one is the one I want to keep. So the advantage of recording this score or MIDI information, MIDI is what all this information is called. It is the language of your note information, the length, the pitch, and the velocity. Advantage of recording this is that you can edit it. So I can lengthen this if I want to, Okay, undo. And then, you know, I could change these pitches. I don't know if this gets undone too. I better do. Yeah. So I can change the volume of it, the length, and then I can also push it up or down if I want to. So this is saved for posterity is kind of what I'm saying. And then because this is just note information, I can change the source. Right now the source is this sample. But I could load a different sample into here and, you know, decide which one I like more. So, for example, if I, you know, for example twice. Going back down to pattern 1, see this pattern, I can switch this out for a different kick if I want to. So, going back to the piano roll, the piano roll is where you can edit all this note information. So I'm going to do away with these ones. I don't need those. And this too. I don't need that. So now, what makes this a little bit weird is that it starts on the beat. So now all this space here, right? Which makes this a little bit difficult for lining up. Okay, select B. So what I would want to do is move this all forward, at least one bar, because as you can see it starts in the middle of the bar, so I at least need this little bit of space here. So the way I do that, I just selected everything, and then with the pencil, I can move this over. Well, that's actually going to copy it. So you see it's just moving around anywhere I want it to. So I don't like that. I don't like that because it needs to be in a specific place, right? Okay, so now I'm back at where I selected this. So what I need to do is change the snap. So this magnet means snap, which is whatever spacing I have here, the timing of this, which, you know, that's an element of music, the timing and the rhythm. So I need to preserve this because I'm playing to this grid signifying the bars 1, 2, 3, 4, and the subdivisions representing the beats 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I can do is set this snap to either line or cell. I forget which one's which. I think line's the big one and cell's the little one. Well, we can test this right now. So line and then see where it snaps to. So I guess line is snap to these little ones, and then cell is probably the big one. Oh, actually, I don't know. You're giving me tutorials on stuff I don't know. At any rate, that's what I want to do. And you can see it's at the same position. Everything is the same, just one bar earlier. And now, I accidentally pasted everything, but you can also just move it. I'm just going to be lazy and delete what I don't need. So now you go back, and this is sort of what I wanted to record. Okay. And there's now a snap here to events. So you can snap to events. This thing's going to snap to the other event, which is the clip, or the recorded pattern. So now I just have it all the way to the front. I feel like that one note's a little bit early, so I'm going to have to change the snap to none because I don't want this to snap while I'm moving it. I want to be very precise about moving this note. Let's just double this in. Du, du, du. I do think that sounds a little bit better. Oh, see, so line, you just saw those disappear, right? So cell, hey, I want it to come back. Oh, maybe it's lagging. Oh, see, this one is cell. So cell, that's the smallest resolution I can get. Line, oh, same thing. What just happened? I think it's because of the zoom. Okay, so when you go to none, you have a bigger resolution. Still feel like this is a tiny bit early. That sounds a little bit better. Alright, let's see how that sounds. We can take this and just start calling it. Oops. So now I'm going to want to take advantage of snap to line again. Okay, so you saw that line is the subdivision, so just now, let me hit this mouse. Wait. See, line will snap to any of these little lines. And then cell will only snap to, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. I thought cell only snapped to, oh wait, hold on, let's try that again. I don't know. I guess I gotta look up the difference between mine and cell. Need a refresher. I should just snap the head still, and then just kind of. There's a way to do this fast, and I don't remember how to do it. I've been using the computer too much for music. Alright, so that's it. Maybe I'll mess around with some drums or something. Okay, so now, 1, 2, 3. What I want to keep aware of, be cognizant of, are these big divisions here. So the way we listen to music, it's kind of, for most music, unless you're listening to like some really complicated jazz or some math rock, some very technical stuff, most music's going to be in either multiples of 2 or 3. And about 90% of the time it's going to be multiples of 2. Because everything's in 4, like what I just described. Especially, sometimes it's in 3, but that's going to be stuff like polka, waltzes, and then with trap, you do have those triplets, which are in 3, but they're on top of a 4/4 beat, which is in 2. So there are some instances where you sort of straddle the line, but that's what's known as a polyrhythm, is when you have multiple rhythms going on at once. So, well, at any rate, I'd consider the multiples of 2 overarching. And you can see that in a lot of different things, like, for example, music that's written for DJs to play out on a dance floor. It's going to go by phrases of 4 and then sections of 16. The same thing with hip hop, 16 bars, 32 bars, right? And so this structure is preserved in this workstation. You can see the bars counter up top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each little square here is a bar. And then, you're going to either write your phrase in 4 or 8 or 16 here. So here I've got 12, which is a little bit confusing. I'm going to either want to change that to 8 or 16. So let's just add 2 more and make it 16. And I'm going to want sort of just everything to loop here. What I want to do is just slowly start building up my track. Or at least the kernel of it, the idea of it. So I'm just going to keep on building things up. So that's why I got rid of that excess. And now when I play it, it's just going to keep on looping through. It's a little bit earlier. Let's try another sample. Go back. Go down to 120. I'm thinking about now, maybe some bass sounds. So let's bring up some bass sounds. I think they are in. Music. Document samples. bunch of bass sounds a long time ago. I'm just looking for them right now. Drum samples, multi-sample bass. Alright, that's enough out of you. Looking somewhere in here. Very odd that it's not in here. Maybe it's in my other folder. I don't know why I have 2 sample folders. Alright, just don't question it. Dance floor bass, there we go. I'm losing my mind. Single electric basses. Just pick a random one. So it's not really my cup of tea. Let's go. This needs to be pitched. The pitch seems to be a little bit it's a little bit long, so I'm gonna fade it out. The wrong sample. This is the one that I wanted to figure out the pitch. Okay, seems to be F. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm gonna put these back. Oops. Yeah, don't like this bass sound. Gonna pick a different one. So here's kind of like, I guess the issue for me with using the digital audio workstation is it's almost too powerful. You can do anything you want, so you spend a lot of time experimenting. You know, the plus of having hardware is that it's all in one place. It's all in one box. You got what you got. You're gonna have to work with it. And somehow, I don't know if it's my upbringing, my genetics, whatever it is, that sort of, those sort of limitations, in the parameters just seem to work better for my creativity. But, I don't shy away from that, which is why one of the reasons why I decided to, show you guys how to make music using different methods. So I do prefer hardware myself, but I have to concede the fact that the most powerful is software, and that's something for me to get better at, and something that I've been working on throughout the years. And a small anecdote, if anyone watching the stream is a fan of Aphex Twin, he's pretty renowned for all the weird sounds he makes on the weird machines that he has. And in an interview, when he was questioned what's his favorite piece of, well, they didn't phrase it that way. They said, what's his favorite instrument, to make music on? He said, like, undoubtedly it's the computer, because the computer is the most powerful. It's an extension of your brain. It can unify all the other instruments that you have. So it pays to get good at that. Some bit of difficulty with this, I think. I maybe want to put more melody into this, see if I can do that. Just get on some more familiar ground. You got these NES samples. Look a little swing on it. See if that sort of changes the rhythm. Swing is sort of... How about swing? So let's go back to pattern 1, or 4 on the floor. If you were to play this straight without swing, it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4. When you add swing, you're swinging between the 1 and the 3. So 1, you kind of stick to one side. It's hard to show without syncopation. It's kind of hard to tell what. So those hi-hats are swaying a little bit. They're not being played evenly. There's a little bit of accenting going on. And they're kind of sticking to the beats. That's what swing does. So you see here it's very even. Put on the swing. It's gonna help the groove out. It makes it a little more human and less robotic. Sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. Go back to looking for basics. Crap, I don't want to do Yeah, that was a little bit too deep. That's a little bit too crazy. guess like I kind of want this to loop. I want this to loop. So we'll turn on this crossfade, which makes it loop. Let's record and see what happens. So this will be in pattern 3, automation and score. Better. That's all enough too. I just don't think this is gonna work. Yeah, the length of it's like too short, so it's just the notes dying off before I play the next one, and that's kind of just what's making it sound so awkward. It was like almost there, but kind of not. I could add some delay. I could mess around with it. Should I do that? Oh, what the hell. Let's audition this and then give that a shot. Ooh. A more normal bass sound. That's nice. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't like this one. Okay, so back to what I was saying. 151. I like 151, but the sound is a little bit short, so what I could do is assign free mixer track. So then what that's going to do is allow me to put some effects on the track. Go with delay. So this mixer is, where all the different tracks are, added, mixed together. You can adjust the levels here, but also, you can add your effects. So what delay is going to do is it's going to take the signal going in and then repeat it. So it can add sort of an echo effect, which you may not always want, and kind of like with a bass sound, you want something that's short, dry, and punchy. Dry meaning not processed. So delay is going to make the sound wet. So that's not always what you want, but it will just, add a little bit of length to the note. You can add a tiny bit to do that, and that's what I'm going to try here. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice, right? So that might be too much, but let's play with it and tweak it. It's the best thing we've got going right now, so let's just record it. Actually seem like some of them lagged, so maybe do it. Let's see, even that first one. That's enough. We can just repeat that take. Oh, whoops. You can see I am rushing. See how early they are? Well, I think what I'll do is just edit this. Maybe I could leave the second one a little bit just to give it a human feel. It's rushing. See, that way I give it a bit of syncopation. Actually, the second note's going to come in just a tiny bit late. Or early. It's going to come in on the off beat, which is going to give it the syncopation and swing. peel this back a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Now I can duplicate this. Doing. Let me just out so you can see what I did. Basically, I'm kind of still going around pattern 2. So where pattern 2 hits, it drops and plays these 4 notes. That's where I start pattern 3. So because the phrase starts in the second bar, it's a little bit offset. But you can see it totals 8 bars. But it's just offset. So if I want this whole thing to be looping, I'm just going to restart it here while it's offset and then start, I'm basically chopping it up into pieces and moving it aside. So because it starts on bar 2, it's going to end on bar 1. So then what I needed to do here was, part of the next note actually starts a tiny bit early. So even if I, chop it off here, it's going to play the note and then double play it here. So I don't want that, which is why I zoomed in to increase the resolution and then just snipped off this tiny part right here. There are different ways to do it, but that's sort of a quick, lazy way. Just letting it start here, because pattern 2 is just going to come in just like that. Okay. So this is snap to line, which, oops, what was that? Whatever, that doesn't matter. So it's going to advance by each line, right? And then cell, if I do cell, same thing. What if I zoom in? There we go. So I think this kind of makes more sense to do. Because it's the other part that jumps in here. Let's try this. I think that explains it better. methods on this hi-hat. Here's what I turned down the swing. Turn up the swing like this. It's sort of sticking to the beat. It's swaying or swinging. I don't really want hi-hats right now. Motion score. Make sure I know where to comment. Let's go back to playlist. Definitely that was off. It's supposed to come in on the second measure. Make sure it's right. Default ones that come with FL Studio. Just gotta check out some other ones. 16th rhythm. They're like a bass is gonna wobble or like some rhythmic thing. I gotta figure it out. Let's load up a different sound. Grasshopper on cloud farm. Let's try that. I was almost perfect, but I forgot. I left a note out. It was off. I also lagged a tiny bit. Came in late. Started out good, then started lagging. Came in late. that? Oh, that's really weird. I did not mean to do that. Okay. I thought I would do it. I don't want to select this. Not select this playlist. Go away. I don't want this. Oh, shit. Let's do this and figure out how to undo it. Just don't select this. I don't want this. How do I deselect this? Don't record. How do I deselect? I don't want to select this crap. Control D? Okay. Control D for deselect. Classic Windows command. Okay, so this one actually sucks. That's disappointing. When I didn't record that, deselect everything. Record this again. Not sure about that. The whole thing is rushed, so I wonder if I could just take the whole thing and just drag it back a tiny bit. And then it'll just magically work. Just cut out this part where it starts getting off and see what happens if, okay, well, once again I want to move this to the front. How do I do that? Because sometimes it throws the timing off. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just move it. It's because this starts slightly before the beat, so when you move it over here, you're actually pushing it a little bit late. It's just weird little things like that. Sometimes that's the best thing to was. Then, well, it's the fart box. Fart box. All fart box. Build a new track. Let's just do that, man. Fuck it. So this is gonna be pattern 7. See how that works. Hopefully it does work. And then try to stitch together something decent from the rest of it. But I don't know if I like this. I'm going to delete that and do this instead. Move this over here. You go away. Something's off here. Yeah, something is off here. What is it? No. Well, that's not it. Something's off here between the transitions. Maybe no, maybe I'm tripping. Let's lay this baseline down because I think this sounds a lot better. What did I record pattern 8 to? Am I tripping? That's all the way up there. Just rushing as per usual. It hurts me more than it hurts you. Whoops. We got to get rid of pattern 8. Get out of here, pattern 8. Come on, I don't like you anymore. Yeah, that works. Rushing so damn much. I wonder if that's me or if that's just latency. Anyway, just really want to lay this down before I quit. Oh, get rid of the snap. Let's move this all back. Let's do something like that. Yeah. This is amazing. Everything is just so late. Dun, 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 dun. Want to add another note to that pattern. I'll lead in. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Trying to think which note to copy. This one right here. That'll be my lead in. I'm going to copy it. Snap to line. And then I guess what's going to be a little bit awkward is where do I put it? It needs to be at the end of the fourth bar. So let's see. Move this all the way over here. I should remember where it is. That should do it. See how it sounds. This is kind of off key. I like this a lot more. Save this right now. Let's say this is Firefox 2. Should we do save new version? Let's do that. Save new version. Firefox 2. Then what we want to do is take this, just transpose it to it's in the right key, but it's like a little off, so I'm just gonna adjust it. It's a little rushed. That's pretty sure. I didn't say to do that. Come on, give me a break. What is it doing? I'm not recording. What the hell is that? I did not want to do that. Oh, it's record. I don't want it to record. Okay. Let's try to duplicate this, since that is the rhythm that I want. So that's the weird thing. See, I'm copy pasting and then it's just going to put it here, which is going to mess up the timing. So what I need to do is snap to events, and then I just snap it to here so it has the same timing. And then I snap to line. So over here, I'll just take this over here. Don't need all that. Or that, actually. Oops. So I'm going to select all this. Move it up. Yeah, this sounds a little bit early too. Yeah, it's part of the difficulty sometimes is just editing these sloppy takes together so it sounds smooth and funky, tiny bit robotic. duplicate that. Snap to event. Stop the line. Snap to line. And there we go. 2 bars. keep this B riff. It's kind of annoying. At least I got to work out. I may just keep. It's the grasshopper. Clown part. It seems like, you know, they haven't got much to show for our 2.5 hours here. But this is it. Sometimes, you know, it's not like a linear process. Sometimes it is where you just throw everything together and it works. A lot of other times, most of the time I would say, you end up building something up and tearing it back down to build something better. And so what you're looking at is the end of that tearing down. And I'm just starting to build it back up again. I also spoke of last time, you know, the test. So the test, I've been sort of doing this here and there. When I wrote some of those melodic parts, you know, I knew that the melody would overtake everything here. And so when I put those in, I actually subtracted my weird sounds. And that was just to make sure that the weird sounds are integral, you know. You never want to, if your goal is such as, you know, the goal of this project of circuit bending is to harness weird sounds to make music with. So I've gone over this before, you know, ideally you want to use the weird sounds. And, you know, sometimes you build up a track around it where it doesn't really utilize the sound. Basically, the whole track would be better off without the weird sound. And so, you know, to find out whether or not that's happening, you take out the weird sound. Is the track better? Well, then leave it out. You know, what happened was you had a weird sound that brought you inspiration and got the juices flowing and allowed you to create something new, which is pretty awesome, you know. But if you find that what you have just, you know, that's not enough, then, you know, you do what I did, which is break it down and put the sounds back in, keep on experimenting. And now I have something which is, you know, because I'm using weird sounds, I don't want to rely on the melody too much. So you saw me put in those Nintendo sounds and the Commodore 64 sounds, which I think in melody, so that was just natural to me. But that puts a lot of intent into what's being created. Now that you opened up the box to melody, you know, melody is a factor that you cannot ignore. And so that's why I removed those melodic elements, because it was creating a narrative that I didn't want to go to just quite yet. And so I peeled that back and I went back to the rhythm of the weird sounds. And now I feel that I have a track where the weird sounds are integral. Something else that I want to do. So in pattern 8, my bass pattern, you can see there's a lead-in note every time. So I'd like to make it every other time. So what I want to do is clone this pattern and make a second pattern where this note is deleted. So we go over to pattern 8. That is my pattern. Wait, is it? Well, it's kind of weird. I don't know why, side, but I can't see that other. Kind of weird. Alright, well anyway, so right click here, I'm going to clone, and that creates pattern 9. I think pattern 8 will be the less complex one, so I'll delete the note on pattern 8. So this, get rid of it. Okay, and then now I select pattern 8. Now, to think of where I want to put it, let's see. It's either going to be this way or vice versa, 9 and then 8. Yeah, let's see how that sounds. There you go. That was sort of an easy way to create a subtle variation. And that subtle variation actually creates phrasing. So all I did was change one note. And you see before all 4 of these were the same. So there's not any variation there. It's just, it might as well be one 4-bar pattern because it's not changing throughout the 16. So what you want to do to create this phrasing, to create a start and a stop, rather than have this loop going forever, when you create a start and a stop to the pattern, that's called a phrase. You know, kind of when you're speaking and you have phrasing. So when you speak, use a certain tone, and then at the end of the sentence, you stop, you pause, your tone goes down. Some people overdo it. That's called vocal fry. You know, like the Valley Girl kind of chick who's gonna be like, no, 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 no. That's a type of phrasing. So that's a form of expression that we also use in music. And so this lead-in is almost like that vocal fry. This one note is going, and it's gonna lead. Oh, this person's like their tone's going up, so they're about to end their phrase. They're gonna finish that sentence. You know, if you've ever met someone that speaks like that. And so that's sort of the idea here. This lead-in is telling you that the pattern's going to come around, but then the second time there is no lead-in. So you could say that's where the phrase ends, right? So now I have a clear-cut, 8-bar phrase because there's a space in where there's a lead-in every other. So now instead of, four looped 4-bar phrases that are all the same, now I have 2 8-bar phrases. And this phrasing helps with the structure of the music, and it also helps establish rhythms. So what you can do is you can play off this to establish polyrhythms. And so what I'm talking about is this phrasing for the bass line, it repeats every 8 now, right? Because of what I just did. But the drum track, see, I've separated out pattern 2. Pattern 2 is where there's a double kick. So there's a double kick every 4, and then for the bass, there's a repeating pattern every 8. So in this way, the structure of music is mathematical, and you take advantage of that math to create a pleasing form. That is structure. So I feel like I'm at a pretty good stopping point now. Things that I would like to do. Let's bring back this B sound. sure that the phrases play around with each other. So no single element should be dominating at any given point in time. This, you don't want to blow your load too quickly. So by peeling back, now I leave more space for another element to come in and play off of what I've got here. So I'm unsure about this. I don't know if I really want to keep it, so I'll just save new version. Alright. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this. This is the process. So if you were tuning in before, we started with a toy and we got some interesting sounds out of it, and then the sounds were recorded, and now they're used together to make music. And I guess I was pretty focused on what I was doing, but I hope some of that was informative. I don't know that it's a straight tutorial, but I tried to talk about a lot of the elements of formal music that would be helpful in composition, and try to break down those points into more normal language. So I think next time we'll continue working on either this track or the one that I made on the hardware sampler, and I would like to finish at least one song out of all this stuff from the Fart Box. So let's see, the 18th. Tune in next time, 2 weeks from now, every other Monday, sometimes Tuesdays, never Sunday. Sunday's the Lord's Day, and I don't think we've done one on Sunday yet. This is Bend It Live. If you want to see more circuit bending content, like if this music making sucks, if you don't like my music, if you think that the sound of broken children's toys is more entertaining than my music, than what the sounds have become, then check out Bend It the movie. You can watch it at Bender's TV. We have a link up, and you can rent it. Check it out. Paul Giret worked on this movie, and he invited me and a couple other musicians to follow our process through circuit bending and what we do with the sounds that we get. And it's a lot more concise than the stream. The stream is sort of watching sausage get made. It's all the gory details. It's all this. I almost was going to start off today's stream with some technical difficulties with my controller, but I pulled through. And hopefully the stream wasn't too bad. I see a lot of frame drops here in my client. But yeah, check out Bend It, the movie. Actually, it is Bender's TV, isn't it? Holy shit. Hope I didn't promote the wrong thing. Alright, let's look it up. Circuit. We are on who's Bend It movie. Oh shit. Oh my god. Alright. Watch Bend It the movie. If you're interested in some of the music that I have, go to my YouTube channel, Soulcast818, SOULCAST818, and check out some of the videos here. If you're not tuned into Twitch, I think I'll be uploading this onto my YouTube. Need a little help getting to 100 subscribers so that I can claim the Baby Ginseng channel. Check that out. Check out my music at babyginseng.bandcamp. And hope you enjoyed the stream. Tune in next time, 2 weeks from now. Not sure if Paul's going to be back, but we'll have some new content for you. Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time. I am David Caballo, also known as Baby Ginseng, and I miss you, Paul Giret, digital artist and technical wizard. Bend It Live. Bye.